Please stand close. Raise your right hand.
Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, Detective
Good morning.
Smith. Can you please state your name and spell it for the court reporter?
Leah Smith, Leah Smith.
And what division in the Fairfax County Police are you currently in?
Homicide.
Okay, and were you in homicide during the time of February 24th, 2023?
I was.
Okay, so you're familiar with this case, and the Banfield case, and the Juliana Perez Magalhaes case?
I am.
Okay, and as a homicide detective, you're trained in certain investigatory techniques, correct?
Yes.
What are those, if you could just tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
So we are gatherers of facts. We will respond to scenes, talk with patrol officers who have already arrived. They'll give us a briefing of the case. We'll identify people that we need to talk to, places we need to go, and gather other information and track down what information we have gotten, and if we need surveillance video, or go to stores and track back movements, identify people to talk to. We'll canvass a neighborhood. We'll talk with crime scene to figure out what needs to be done in their capacity and how that will work in our capacity. We will just gather all the information that we can and put together, to the best of our ability, what happened in a particular incident.
And how do the theories of cases emanate from an investigation?
So the best course of action when you're investigating a case is to collect facts and information. You don't have theories to begin with. You have an open mind going into it because you don't know what happened. And then you try to gather all of the information so that it gives you a clearer picture as to what happened.
And in terms of gathering the information in order to get a clearer picture for, I guess, the entire squad, what mechanisms do you utilize in order to make sure everybody's on the same page?
We discuss what we've done, who we've talked to, what information we have gathered or captured. If crime scene will let us know what they have. We usually have a detective who is with crime scene as they're doing their work, and they'll pass on information. If we have other entities doing work on our behalf or assisting us in any way, they'll provide information, and then that will be discussed amongst the squad so that we all have a full picture of what we know.
So beginning with February 24th, 2023, had you developed any theories on that day based upon what you saw at the crime scene?
No.
Okay. Give the ladies and gentlemen of the jury as to kind of what the timeline is for any theories that you may have had.
Personally?
Yes, as an investigator.
So I did not, and don't have or don't create theories as I'm investigating a case until I have all of the evidence that we can collect. And even then, a theory of the case and how it's going to be presented in court is really something the Commonwealth's attorney is going to do. They're the ones who are going to present it. So we will give them all of the facts and all of the information that we have, and whatever theory that's going to come from that is something that they're going to present to it. We do make a determination if there is probable cause to get warrants for somebody in a case. So in this particular case, I did not have a conclusion until we had all of the evidence in the room,
Okay.
the blood evidence and all of that stuff, that was really understood.
And, okay, what was the time frame on it, acquiring all of that information in order to potentially have theories? If you were going to
Those pieces came in toward the very end of the investigation.
Okay.
A full understanding of the sequence of events that we could tell and understand in the room that came toward the very end.
Okay. But in terms of the hard evidence that's done, like DNA, fingerprints, digital forensics, when is the evidence available in order to arrive at conclusions or rule things out or any of those sorts of things?
That's a sliding situation. So things are submitted to the lab, and you might get information and lab sheets back in different times. It's not all given to us at once. And so having that portion of the investigation, you might submit something and then realize that you need to submit more things, or the lab will only take a certain number of things, and then you do a second submission. So then your lab sheets will come in as they come in, kind of in a longer time period.
And the decision process amongst the homicide investigators, is that just within the room of homicide, the actual investigators? Let me see if I can articulate that a little better. You've just described the gathering of evidence and the discussions. Would that be with the homicide detectives? Or who else would be included in that?
It could be anybody who's involved in the investigation. We do briefings with all the entities that are part of it. So it could be computer forensics, it could be crime scene. Our supervisors are there. If we're having, so it could be different meetings over the time period of the investigations. There might be different people who are present during those discussions.
And is it, would you describe the homicide group as being the investigators and the supervisors in another way?
The homicide detectives are the investigators, yes.
Okay. And just so it's clear for the jury, the chain of command going up, the supervisors, they're not investigators, correct?
They are not investigators, they're supervisors.
Okay. Did there come a time when supervisors were suggesting theories to the homicide investigators in this case?
So we had a briefing within the first week of the incident where we were discussing everything that everybody had done and the information that was collected. And our supervisor at the time told us there were two theories in the case and we needed to get behind the right one.
Who was the supervisor?
Lieutenant Smuck.
Okay. Who was in the room?
The homicide investigators, the detectives.
Okay, were there any other people?
I don't recall if there were victim services or advocates or our crime analyst or others who might be there during a briefing when we have just had an incident.
Was one of those theories catfishing?
It wasn't stated what the theory was. It just said there were two theories and you need to get behind the right one.
Okay, at some point in order to get behind it, you had to know what it was. When did you find out?
I'm not sure who said exactly that it was catfishing, that was what it was. That's just what I had begun to understand and hear from other people.
Now, did you or any of your, well, actually, I can only ask you, what, if anything, did you do, given what you've just testified to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury about your methodology, what, if anything, did you do or say after hearing that?
I told Lieutenant Smuck in the room full of investigators that at this point in time, nobody should have a theory in the case, that we are still at the very beginning and we should only be investigating and gathering facts and information.
And how was that received?
There was no response.
And did this meeting end, did the conflict between your statement and the theory that was sitting out there continue in conflict after this meeting? Like in future meetings?
I would say that the investigators on this case knew to investigate with an open mind, even though that might not be along the lines of what the supervisors might have wanted us to look at, how the case, to investigate a particular line.
Okay. And did there ever come a time, I know you said at the end of the case that the catfish theory went away?
Objection leading, objection, facts not in evidence.
As to leading, I'll sustain. As to leading.
When, if at all, did the theory of catfishing go away from this case?
I don't know.
Was that then, well, did it ever go away?
I don't know.
Okay. And would that be for you to know, or would that be someone else within homicide?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. I don't think go away is clear enough. I mean, obviously, we're here on a catfish theory.
What's your legal objection?
Judge, it form, that is an unclear question.
Overruled. Go ahead. You can answer. Remember the question.
Are you right? Would you just mind repeating the question?
So what I'm trying to determine over the lifetime of the case, was the catfishing theory ever disregarded or put to the side?
No.
Was there, during the life of the case, was there periods of time where the homicide squad was not supporting the catfish theory?
So everything is on the table. I wouldn't say that it wasn't, we explored all options, and that was always on the table.
Okay. And when was it that in your mind catfishing was confirmed or negated?
It was toward the end, I would say, that once we understood the full for the investigation, catfishing is maybe how you got to a point, but what happened in the room, in the bedroom, that is really what you need to figure out. That's the determination of who would be charged in the crime of murder. So once you understood all of that and what happened within the room, and then you have the other evidence of it coming forward and through the digital forensics and the interviews and all of this stuff, that decision was made on who to charge for it based on the forensics evidence.
And you charged Juliana Perez-Magalhaes in October of 2023, correct?
Yes.
So was it concluded at that point?
She was charged for her for her involvement in the crime. So she wasn't charged with Christine.
Right. And so was it based upon her recantation that Brendan Banfield was charged?
No.
In terms of the catfish theory, actually strike that, Judge. I don't have any further questions, Your
All
Honor.
right, cross-examination.
Good morning, Detective.
Good morning.
So you've told us that you conducted your investigation in a manner consistent with following the evidence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You explained to us that theories were certainly discussed, but that they did not derive how this investigation was conducted, correct?
Ultimately, no.
All right. Counsel asked you about this meeting where you were told and detectives were told that there were two theories and you needed to get behind the right one. You challenged that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did that statement impact how you investigated the case?
No.
Did you see that statement impact how your coworkers investigated the case?
No.
Your investigation was focused on who killed Joseph Ryan and Christine Banfield, correct?
That's correct.
And you followed the evidence in your investigation, and that evidence led you to charging decisions, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Juliana Perez-Maglis was charged because you were able to prove that she shot Joe Ryan. The evidence supported that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And Mr. Banfield was charged when? What was the turning point in your recollection of when Mr. Banfield was charged?
When we got the blood evidence back.
Thank you. Nothing further.
All right, redirect.
Detective Smith, were you ever feeling pressure to follow a theory instead of evidence in this case?
I did not.
You spoke out about it, correct?
Yes.
Did you feel pressure by command after you spoke out about it?
No, I did not feel pressure. I know what I have to do as an investigator. I know how to investigate, and no matter what they thought or the theories they wanted to put forward, that was not how I was going to investigate or provide mentorship or counsel to other investigators on the squad.
Did you raise that with other investigators, the appropriateness of command staff suggesting theories?
Yes,
Okay. And did you address that with the group?
individually as a group, yes.
And who was it that was applying the pressure to you?
Whoever was in charge at the time, at the beginning, Lieutenant Smuck, who made that comment in the first time.
After March 24th. March 24, 2024.
It would become from Lieutenant Giascio and Bruce. I think at the time it was a Captain Bruce.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, is this witness subject to recall? No? No?
No, ma'am.
All right, Detective, free to go. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we started a little early, I'm going to go ahead and have our 15-minute recess now. All right, do not discuss the case and do not do any outside research. We'll see you in 15 minutes. Okay? come back at 11:22 then?
Thank you, Judge.
All rise.